Hello again, everyone. This is Joe Hentges with Beyond the Chart, and this is the free weekend market wrap video, so stay tuned. All right, we're going to start off here with the S&P 500 Weekly, and I've gone to my alternate count on the S&P on a couple of the indices, not all of them. I'll show you how it's different on the Russell 2000. But I believe what we got going on here is a Elliott wave flat. Let me move this out. I'm going to put the marker so you can see it. I believe we've got an A, B, and C. One of the reasons, so 2 instead of 2 stopping over here, I think 2 is over here. So the high, we got 1, and then we'll have 2 once this completes. Now, when you have a flat, this is called a flat. When you have a flat, it's basically a sideways type of move, and that's really what we've been getting in here. Now, again, like I've talked about before, this whole scenario becomes the bearish scenario becomes invalidated if we take out the high back in May of 2015. Now, we haven't done it yet. We didn't do it back here in November. We haven't done it here. We haven't even taken out the November high yet either. And the primary reason, one of the key reasons, let's put it this way, that I moved to this alternate count is because this became more of a 5-wave move. And so that fit the structure of being a C wave, because in a flat, it's a 3-3-5, okay? If this was a normal like zigzag pullback, kind of like this was, this should have been an ABC, and it just did not seem to pan out that way. So that's why I've moved to the alternate count on the S&P 500. Russell 2000, I'm maintaining the 1-2-1-2. So when I say the second 1-2, I'm talking about the wave structure within minor wave 3 down, and you can see the Russell 2000 on a weekly basis is much more negative. Continue to see right now lower lows and lower highs in here. It's in a downtrend, substantially taken out the October 2014 low. All right, so those are the two key indices I'm going to focus on this weekend. The high-low indicator, we got a couple pops. For the longest time, this was staying above 50. I mean, with not really getting much higher than 50. Just a couple of times, right in here and maybe a little bit here. We punched a little bit more this time in here up to 162. We got over 200, but we've pulled back. And you can see since the 1st of April, we really haven't done anything. I mean, we're just hanging in tight. I think I drew this little trend line many days ago, and I think if this thing breaks this trend line, it's going to be a signal that this is now rolling over. So that's what I'm watching for. We've been above zero for quite a while now. We haven't stayed there. The longest segment where we were doing that kind of action was back in October to November, and of course that was the last big leg up, just like our leg right here. So that's the picture on that indicator, and I think it's showing a little bit of weakness at this point. Let's take a look at the semiconductor ETF, because we're going to look and see. I'm checking on the semiconductors, the home builders, and the financials. Those are like 3 key ETFs for the economy that I like to kind of keep a pulse on. Now, I may actually move this one to the same wave count as on the S&P 500 in terms of a flat. I haven't done it yet, so I'm just going to stay with what I've got. But it is looking more like a flat than anything. But right now, we're starting to get some divergence up here in the top. Gosh, I hate when it does that. So when I say that, what I'm looking at is you can see the RSI is not confirming this last move up in here. By the way, I just want to mention on the S&P 500, when I look at the 60-minute count and the smaller wave structure, it does look like we might have one more leg up, a small leg up, and that would be it, and that would complete the 5 waves up from February 11th. So that's what I'm watching for here short term. But right in here, we're getting divergence on SMH, on the RSI. The last segment, the last little piece in here on DI plus, and the same thing on the demand index on this last little piece. And of course now we're getting a close. We've gotten it before. We've gotten a couple closes below the 10. It just didn't roll over, but it looks like it's struggling a little bit. Home builders have come back pretty strong, but really it looks like it's just correcting this entire move from here to here. If you look at it, and let's see, what is the retracement on the home builders? So 61.8%. So typically I'm looking for a 50 to 61.8% retracement. Sometimes it gets deeper than that, but it's going to run into a bunch of congestion right in here, a bunch of overhead supply where all the people who didn't sell before when this happened are going to sell again. When it gets back up into it, and it's really right about there. And we're right at the 55-day moving average here too. So actually 55-week moving average, because this is a weekly chart. Let's take a look at the financials. And of course, last week I talked about how I thought that the financials were rolling over. It looked like, well, maybe this sector was rolling over, going to start leading. And then all of a sudden we get this little pop back with a couple of the banks reporting, and Chase had good earnings, or better than expected, let's put it that way. And so we got this little pop up right now. Let's take a look at the weekly. I am expecting to get same kind of thing like I just talked about in the home builders, get some resistance coming in at the bottom pin here. And let me blow it up for you a little bit. Right in here. So slightly higher. If it continues to push a little bit more, I expect some strong resistance to come into play right in here now. And so that's the picture on XLF. We did have, it did have a good week and a good pop up, but 1 week does not make a trend. All right, the last two we're going to look at today was, I'm going to look at silver. Silver had a big move. The commodities, this actually was the best of the commodities I was looking at. I don't look at all of them. I'm looking at about half a dozen or so. But this had a nice big move. And actually on a weekly basis, this looks like it's broken a trend line that's about 2.5 years. And looks like it's breaking out. Now, the one thing I did notice is that it looked like it stopped right at this high back in here, October 30th, the week ending October 30th, that high. $15.60, and the high this last week, $15.58. So if it punches through that, then it may start testing some of these other previous pivots. But right now, I got a feeling it's going to, it may digest. It's, let me take a look at the volume. Let me see what kind of break. Yeah, it's good volume, pretty good volume. When you look at some of the volume that's been happening in here. So it may continue punching. Let me look at it on a daily basis, and it's very gappy. If you follow that, then you already know that. I don't follow this. I look at it periodically, but it's not like I'm watching it every day right now. The other one I wanted to look at is, so that looks like it may be trying to break and go, although, like I said, it's got that resistance. So Silver Wheaton, what's up with this stock? When you look at this, silver-related stock, here's a long-term trend. This hasn't broken, and this is a trend line back into 2012. It hasn't broken this yet. That's a daily chart. Let me see if the weekly chart shows anything different. It's the same kind of trend line. It's not touching every trend point perfectly, but it's pretty doggone close. So, with silver breaking above that one trend line and this one right below it, it could be getting ready to make a run for it here. So this is going to be interesting. This thing gets above $20, and I'm going to start wanting to watch it to trade options on it, because it's let's see, what's the 50-day average volume is 6.2 million. So it's nice, heavily traded. I just like to see it get above $20 a share. So right now that looks like it's could be getting ready to make a run. Although one thing I did notice on the indicators, and the same thing I saw on gold, and then I'll This will be it for the weekend. It's a little bit of a fish hook pattern showing up in the demand and the RSI. So given that we got this close below the 10 and this little inside up day in here, we could be getting ready for one more, a little more pullback, before a little more consolidation going on, because the 5 wave count, any kind of wave count in here, it's a little unclear to me right now. So I'm thinking right now this looks like it's trying to consolidate and watching for a break of that trend line. Okay, and if you're watching this video anywhere else besides my website, head on over to the website and don't hesitate to share the video. I'd appreciate the help in spreading the word and sharing the video. I know several of you have done that, and so I really appreciate it. Have a great weekend. Talk to you all in the next video.